This is Renee Williams-Erwin, Studio Thinking, ARU 330-430, Spring 2021. Printmaking Unit, Colograph Plate Lesson, 6th grade. Exploring the enduring idea of interdependence through multi-approach printmaking, Part 2. Good morning, 6th grade. It's so good to see you all. Today we will be continuing with Part 2 of our printmaking exploration and diving deeper into our enduring idea of interdependence. As you recall, last week we worked in table teams interdependently to create subtractive plate monotype prints. Working in your same teams from last week, we will push this enduring idea even further as we reflect on the way the individual elements of the collage items work interdependently to form a completed design. Let's take a look at our dry monotype prints. I am so pleased with the persistence you exhibited last week as you engaged with this new printing process. I can't wait to introduce the next step in this lesson, but before we do that, let's take a look at the work of our first artist for some inspiration. Mary French is a contemporary printmaker and painter who expresses her creativity by building print layers of elements that, when combined, gives them new meaning. By layering the various elements, she also creates a sense of unity in her artwork. What does her artwork say to you? As we continue to explore our enduring idea of interdependence, we will rely on our teammates to collaborate and construct a colograph plate. These are colograph plates, made from a variety of interdependent, interesting visual and tactile objects. Here we have the smooth boards plate. Flat, smooth pieces of cardboard were used to create this type of plate. Second, we have the texture plate, which includes items with an interesting texture or pattern, such as the peeled cardboard or pieces of sponge. Third, we have the linear plate. Straight and curved lines were explored on this plate. And lastly, we have the found objects plate. Some examples of found objects could be buttons, rubber bands, paper clips, crayons, Q-tips, popsicle sticks, anything interesting you can find. For the next step in this unit, I would like you to work with your team to create one colograph design that uses elements from each of the 4 types of plates: smooth, texture, linear, and found. I have created a resource poster for you to refer to as you work. You will find this resource at the front of the room on the whiteboard. All right, here we have all the items we will need to get started. We have our selection of colograph items, Elmer's glue, scissors, butcher paper table covering, and our cardboard mounting plate. We will use the cardboard as a support to attach our colograph items to. I will call you over by tables for the demonstration. I will be looking for table teams that are ready to learn. After I call your table, push in your chairs and make your way over to the workbench. Here we go. The first thing I would like you to do when you get back to your table is to put your names on the back of your cardboard mount. Make sure your names are table side down as you work. Working interdependently, play with the items on your table. Consider some of the elements of art and principles of design: shape, space, texture, line, balance, unity, emphasis, movement, pattern, and proportion. Refer to the resources posted in the room as you work. Use your scissors to cut new shapes. If you peel the backing off the cardboard, it reveals this really fun pattern. It's also a nice texture. When you loop the twine, you can play around looping the twine, see what that looks like. What kind of movement and texture does that create? As you work at your table with the scissors, be mindful of each other's arms and hands, reaching across to get materials as you are cutting. Safety first. Also, some of the items can be slippery if they are dropped on the floor, like the buttons and the cardboard pieces. Please make sure that you pick them up immediately if you drop them to prevent any slips. Be respectful to your teammates and practice active listening as you consider ideas about the composition of your colograph plate. Play with arranging and rearranging items. This plate will be a relief plate, meaning the paint will be applied with a brayer to the raised parts of the design. Only the raised areas will print. Place your items close but not touching and push the design out to the edges. This will make it a lot easier when we get to the printing process. We want to try to not get ink on the mount. So if you push your design out to the edges, that helps a lot with that. As you envision your plate design with your table team, consider the ways you can incorporate the 4 types of plates. Use your resource at the front of the room for a refresher if you need to. As you think about the various items in your collage, consider how they are dependent on each other to create a completed plate, just as your teammates are interdependent on one another to complete the activity. Keep in mind, items will print in reverse. Take that into consideration if you are planning to do lettering. I can come around and help you with that. As you work together, reflect on these 3 key concepts. Interdependence values what we each contribute. Interdependence in art relies on the parts to make a cohesive or complete design. Interdependence brings individuals together to work towards a single goal. For this design, I tried to incorporate as many of the principles and elements of art and design as I could. Got shape here. I think there's a nice sense of space between corner to corner here. Got my texture. I'm going to be looping this through the design to create a sense of a line and a sense of movement. And I also think it will create a sense of unity as it goes across the image here to pull all the different elements together. We've got our pattern, proportion, we've got small items, larger items. So this has a nicer texture on this side, so I would want to make sure that that texture is facing up. Don't adhere the items to your cardboard mount until I've had a chance to come around to your table and hear about your process and observe your design. When you get the go-ahead from me, you can glue each piece down to the mount, and please make sure that you're taking turns with this part in the process. Place your colograph plate on the drying rack when you are completely finished. Now that your group has finished your initial combination plate, and you have an idea of what the various materials can do, I would like you to now work independently and create a plate of your own that represents what interdependence means to you. Please do not touch the materials I will be putting out until you have heard all the directions. We have 4 stations set up around the room. Tables 1 and 2 are the smooth plate materials. Tables 3 and 4 have materials to create texture plates. Tables 5 and 6 have materials to create line plates. And lastly, tables 7 and 8 are the found object station. Once you have made your plate choice, you will move to that table to share your ideas and access materials. Show me you are ready to quietly move to your selected station. I am so proud of the way you engaged and persisted with this process today. Please take 2 or 3 minutes now and write a short paragraph describing your thought process as you made your plate. Explain how the various elements in your design are working interdependently. Name 2 things that went well. Name 1 thing you would do differently next time. When you're finished writing, place your paper next to your plate at the station you were working. We will then have a gallery walk around the room to observe what each of us has created. Nice job, everyone. Each plate truly exemplified a unique vision. Our last inspirational artist for the day is an amazing printmaker and educator. Professor Glenn Alps is credited with coining the term colograph in 1955. He described it as a print made from collage. Professor Alps is widely recognized for the development of many unique and innovative printing techniques. Here is an example of one of the colograph plates I made last week. I chose to make a texture plate. And here is an example of what we will experiment with next week. We will use block printing inks and brayers to print the colograph designs we created today onto the Monotype prints that we made last week. I can't wait to see what you construct next time as we layer and print the inked colograph plates onto our monotypes. So exciting. Have a great afternoon, 6th grade.